Good morning. This is English 8 for Monday, April the 13th. Let's look in our book today at page 215. You had homework there. You had to do exercise I. So let's check it together real quickly. Number 1, it says to cross out the incorrect words and make corrections where necessary. And if a modifier is misplaced, circle it and draw an arrow to where it belongs. Number 1, I will use fewer sugar in this recipe next time. Wait a minute. Can you count sugar? No. So we don't use the word fewer. We would say less. I will use less sugar. Number 2, Miss Garcia said on Monday there would be a test. Well, there's a problem. On Monday, did Miss Garcia say it on Monday, or is the test on Monday? You should circle it, and you can move it to before Miss Garcia, or you could have moved it at the end of the sentence. Either one would be correct. It would just change the meaning of the sentence. Number 3, Blake said it was the most best cake he had ever eaten. We don't need the word most. You don't use the word most and a superlative. Use one or the other. Okay? Number 4, Audrey said a squirrel in the tree looking out the window was washing dishes. Boy, I wish there was a squirrel that was washing my dishes, but there's not. Okay, so the clause or the words looking out the window while washing dishes is in the wrong place. The squirrel's not looking out the window washing dishes. Who is? Audrey. So it needs to go in front of Audrey's name. And that's the only place it can be moved. Number 5, Xavier scores more points than any person on his team. Our comparison is incomplete. It needs to say any other person on his team. Number 6, the meteorologist announced there were flash flood warnings on the news. The flash floods are not on the news. Okay, so on the news needs to go before the word the. On the news, the meteorologist announced. Or you could say the meteorologist announced on the news. Either way, the words on the news needs to go at the beginning, toward the beginning of our sentence. Look at exercise I today. We're going to recognize parts of speech. We're trying to put all of the things we've learned this year together. We've talked about nouns. Nouns are persons, place, things, or idea. They serve as what are their jobs? They can be the subject, the direct object, the indirect object, the object of a preposition, a predicate nominative, or an appositive. We talked about verbs. There are 2 types of verbs. There are action verbs and there are linking verbs. If you have an action verb, you look for what kind of complement, a direct object or an indirect object. If you have a linking verb, then you look for a predicate nominative or a predicate adjective. Then we talked about pronouns. Pronouns are words that take the place of a noun, such as I, you, he, she, it, we, them, those, each, every, some, few, okay? Some of those are definite pronouns, some of those are indefinite pronouns, some of those are personal pronouns, but pronouns take the place of a noun. So, then we talked about adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. In other words, an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. And they must answer one of 5 questions. They must tell us which one, what kind, how much, how many, or whose. We also learned that an adjective clause will be introduced by a relative pronoun, always a relative pronoun. Then we talked about adverbs. We said an adverb will describe the verb most commonly, or it will describe an adjective, or it will describe another adverb. There are actually 7 questions that an adverb can answer. It will tell us where, when, how often, to what extent, why, or under what condition. Okay? Then we've talked about prepositions. Prepositions begin prepositional phrases. They show a relationship between 2 things. I might say that the fox is on the log, under the log, in the log, by the log, beneath the log. But it shows a relationship of position between that fox and that log. Okay? Then We've talked about conjunctions. Conjunctions join things. The most common ones of course, are the fanboys, okay? And we talked about those and how they connect sentences or groups of words. They're not our only conjunctions, they're just the most common conjunctions. We, by the way, said that an adverb clause is introduced by a subordinating conjunction, okay? It joins that adverb clause, that dependent clause, to the independent clause. Now, today in our exercise, we're going to kind of take all of that knowledge and we're going to use it together. We're going to find the words that serve as the verbs, the nouns, pronouns, adjectives, and adverbs. Now, I've written a couple of the sentences on the board, and I even went so far as to underline the word that in your book is italicized to help us. Now, I can't just read this and know the answer, okay? I need to read it, think about my terms, and I need to analyze it, okay? So let's look at the first one. Chief Joseph, the leader of the Nez Perce from the Pacific Northwest, was known as a great leader of his people. Now, some of these I already know just by reading the word, okay? Chief Joseph. It has to be a what? It's a person, a place, thing, or idea. So it has to be a noun. I'm not asking you for its job. I'm asking you what part of speech it is. It is a noun. Okay? The word leader. The leader. Again, leader is a person, place, thing, or idea. So the word leader is a noun. We have the word from. From. What is the words from the Pacific Northwest? We would call it a what? A prepositional phrase. If I was marking them, I would say there's the prepositional phrase. And since I have a prepositional phrase, the word from is the first word. The word from must be a preposition. By the way, the word from can be something else, but today it's a preposition. Okay? Now we have the word his. His. Well, before we get too far, let's go ahead and mark the rest of our prepositional phrases. Of the Nez Perce, that's a prepositional phrase, and we don't need to know anything about it, but it's a phrase. And what else? Of his people. Now, the reason I had you do that is we're going to look at the word his. What is the word his in this sentence? Because the word his can be a pronoun or it can be an adjective. How will I know the difference? If it's an adjective, there will be a noun immediately after it. Is the word people a noun? Yes. So that makes the word his an adjective. Whose people? His people. So his is an adjective. When you look at a word that is sometimes a pronoun and sometimes an adjective, you have to say, is there a noun after it? If there's not a noun after it, it's a pronoun. If there is a noun after it, then it is an adjective. Look at our next sentence. The Native Americans of the Southwest are known for their beautiful artwork made with colored sand. Prepositional phrases are of the Southwest, for their beautiful artwork, and with, it should be colored, sorry about that, colored sand. Okay? Now those are prepositional phrases. So what do we automatically know about the word of? It is a preposition. What are the words are known? Look at the sentence, read it without your prepositional phrases. The Native Americans are known. Okay? What is are known? It is a verb. It is a verb. Okay? Hopefully you knew that. All right? Then we have the word beautiful. Beautiful. What does beautiful tell us? It's not a thing. It's not a person, place, thing, or idea. It doesn't take the place of a noun. I can't do a beautiful, so it's not a verb. It's not on my preposition list. Is it an adjective or is it an adverb? What does it describe? It's describing the artwork. An artwork is a noun. If something describes a noun, it must be an adjective. So beautiful is an adjective, okay? Next, we have, make sure I didn't skip either in your book, okay? The word made, made, okay? Some of you with, that's a verb. It's not a verb, okay? It's not a verb, because listen to your sentence. The Native Americans of the Southwest are known for their beautiful artwork made with colored sand. How are they made? Well, they're made with colorful sand, okay? What is made? Artwork. Made tells us about the artwork, so it is an adjective. That's the one that a lot of times kids miss, because they look at that and say, oh, made, it's a verb. Yes, sometimes it is, but not in this case, okay? Without the helps of friendly groups of people who help them along their journey, Lewis and Clark's expedition may never have reached the Pacific Ocean. You know, that's the way it is in life. If we don't accept help from other people when we need it, we'll never hit the goals that God has for us. You need help and I need help. That's why the teachers, that's why we have devotions every day as a staff. Even during this virus, we get together, we use a conference call, and we have devotions each morning. Why? Because we want to help encourage one another during difficult times. Okay? You need to learn as a young person, and not to have everyone do everything for you. I'm not saying that. But I am saying sometimes you allow your pride to say, I don't need their help. I can do this myself. That attitude says, neon sign, I have a pride issue. And God doesn't want you to have a pride issue. He doesn't want me to have a pride issue. Pride's the root of our sin. When we can't control our mouth, it's usually because we're proud, because our feelings got hurt. When we lose our temper, it's because I feel like I was done unjustly. So I've got a pride issue. I was taught a long time ago by a very wise man that said, most sin, if not all sin, can be traced back to pride. Why is Satan not in heaven? Because of his pride. All right? Let's look at the sentence. I'm glad Lewis and Clark didn't have that, and they were willing to accept help to give us help. To give us our great country. Let's look at this. Without the help, you know what? Let's go through first and mark our prepositional phrases. Okay, so we have, without the helps of friendly groups of people. Boy, there's a lot of prepositional phrases, weren't there? What does the who? Who is a relative pronoun, which means I'm about to see a clause, okay? Continue with our prepositional phrases. Along their journey, and I think we've reached it, okay? So this who is a relative pronoun introduced in a clause, but we'll come back to that later. What is the word without? I'm sorry, yes, without. Without is a preposition, okay? Let's look at the word groups. What is groups? What's its job? It's acting like the object of a preposition, which means it has to be a person, place, thing, or idea, so it must be a noun. If you said, oh, it's the object of a preposition, no, it's not. Object of the preposition is its job. What is it? I'm a girl. What's my job? Being a teacher, okay? Not the same word, okay? Next, we have their. What does their, T-H-E-I-R, tell us? Tells us whose journey. If a word answers the question whose, which one, what kind, how much, how many, or whose, it is an adjective. By the way, there is sometimes a pronoun. How did I know it was not a pronoun? Because it's followed by a noun, okay? Then we have the word never. Never is always a adverb. It's always an adverb, okay? I hope you found those sentences to be relatively easy to do. I hope they weren't difficult at all. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to do number 4 and number 5, but I want you to go a step further than the italicized words. I want you to give me what every word in the sentence is. Is it a noun? Write this down. Is it a noun? Write in the little space below. Noun, verb, pronoun, adjective, adverb, conjunction, preposition. There is one more called an interjection. There are no interjections in these sentences, okay? So in sentence 4 and 5, I want you to mark every single word. What part of speech is every word? You're gonna have a quiz like that coming up, so this is really good practice. That's it, just 2 little sentences for homework today, but please make sure you do them. All right, have a good day, guys.